Yeah. What's something you wish somebody would have told you in life?
Uh,
This answer better be good. You took your time.
yeah.
You took your sweet time.
I don't know. The past 2 years, something that I really do wrestle with, and to an extent,
Hmm.
it definitely haunts me. But I really wish that not. I guess they did tell me, but I guess I never truly heeded their words, and that's to appreciate every moment that you get with your loved ones. So when
Mm.
they're gone, and if you didn't, the regret that comes with that is pretty heavy, and it'll never leave you. So, yeah.
Yeah. That and I feel like it's one of those things where it only occurs to you when something deep like that happens, you know?
Yeah, I mean, you never you can be as knowledgeable you want about anything, but you'll
Mm.
never understand until you put those things into practice. And sadly, for things like that, you'll never fully understand until you've experienced it.
Yeah, we forget that, every day is a blessing. Like we kind of forget about death sometimes. I was thinking about this like a couple of days ago. I was like, dude, my finger got injured and I was
Yeah.
just like it just put me in this like crisis where I was like, wow, like every single body part in my body matters. You know what I'm saying? Like every single day is a blessing and death is inevitable. It's the one thing that's guaranteed. And sometimes we think we're immortal. Like death is not even like a scenario. We don't think about death. A lot of people don't even think about death until it happens in their family and then, that
Sometimes it's a good thing though to not think about
to
it.
not think about it.
Yeah, because you're not always like in that constant state of worry. Like death is a scary thing. I think that's like number two. That's like the number two top
You think
worry.
it's scary for you?
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I think that's my number one like fear, dying.
Dying?
Yeah.
Really? I would disagree with you. I'm not really scared of death anymore. I'm serious. I was as a child. I was scared shitless of dying. I was like, I don't
You
want
were
to die.
thinking about it as a kid?
Yeah, I thought about death a lot as a kid because it was, growing up in Pakistan, it was different. But yeah, I thought about death a lot. But I think at this age, I am 100% comfortable with the idea of death. Like, yeah, I think I've come to terms that all of us are going to go away and I might die
You're
tomorrow.
such a liar, bro.
I swear to
You're
you.
such a liar.
I'm not lying. I swear. I'm very much like, yeah, sure. If somebody shoots me in the head, it'll hurt, But I'm comfortable with the idea of death itself. What do you think, man?
Are you? Yeah. Are you afraid of death?
No, I mean, I've already had
You've
my fair of
experienced.
dances. My own waltz with death twice in the past years.
Mike, cool.
Yeah, sorry. I've
Yeah,
had my own
keep it there,
waltzes.
yeah.
I've had my own waltzes with death in the last 2 years, so I don't fear it.
Did you before,
I
or did you not really think about it?
don't know, man. When you jump on a bike and you go 160, I don't think you're
You're thinking about it.
carrying too much. If you're living that lifestyle, I don't think you're focused on that. You think you're above that.
Mm.
So, no, I mean, now I don't fear death. I mean, at least when I die, I won't be in a wheelchair. I'll be with God.
Yeah.
And that make me the happiest guy in the world. But until then, I got stuff to do here on earth. So I view death as a pleasant inevitability in my life.
Mm. But for the example of being on the bike, right? If you did fear death, you wouldn't get an experience like that. Like you've told me, we've talked about it. We both ride, and it's like there's nothing that I can say feels like that except skydiving. That's the only other thing I can say. Like, wow, this feels like living. This feels like it's like a breath of fresh air.
I guess I would say you build maybe complex isn't the right word, but you can conquer death.
Yeah, like you're like Superman.
I mean, yeah, especially when you're going in between two semis at 80 miles an hour, on the freeway.
Yeah, that's
You have a certain level of confidence in your own ability.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
Bro, that I will never do. I won't do that. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Which freeway was it?
The one that's right by my
The
house.
5?
The
I
5.
think so. I don't know. I don't know. I know nothing about freeways. Well, you gave me my GPS on my phone, and I'm happy. Bad on my end, but
Yeah, no, semis, that's a scary
That's
thing,
scary.
bro.
it's fun. I did that with Angelica on the back once.
No.
I regret it. It wasn't in
God,
between two
Leelan,
semis,
bro.
but it was fairly close.
Yeah, semis are a crazy thing when you're riding a bike because a lot of times they don't even look. They're not even looking their blind spots, dude. They're just kind of like driving. They're like, okay, I'm this big. If somebody wants to move, they're gonna move because
Yeah.
they're gonna get smashed by me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, scary. I've never been like that close, but I have been on like the slow lane, and they're coming into the slow lane as I'm trying to move, and they've
Yeah.
almost pushed me off into the hard shoulder,
Yeah.
bro. They have pushed me off into the hard shoulder.
Well, they know that you can push it.
But it's like, bro, come
Still
on,
a
like,
douchebag move.
yes,
but
bro.
like,
That's
he'll be
scary,
fine.
bro. That's scary, dude.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I was riding my bicycle in the streets of Pakistan.
That
In the
is.
streets of Pakistan, I believe you.
the bicycle.
There's like gunshots going through near your heads,
The
bro.
Talibani soldiers pushing me into the
He used
corner.
to live across the street from the man who may not be named was murdered.
No, I'm
In
okay.
He-
I'm
he
okay
did.
over here.
Yeah, it's better.
I'd rather live
here.
Yeah.
Am I right? Or
Yeah, Osama and I go way back.
across the street?
Across the street, we're neighbors.
Is that crazy or what, dude?
Pretty badass.
He used to be friends with one of his kids. They used to go to school together.
Actually, my parents were planning to like marry me off into the family because the Saudi family has a lot of money. So,
Would have had a good name.
huh?
Well, maybe not a good name, but
No,
you
they would have
had
taken
a
my name. Yeah,
Oh, wait, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah, they would've taken
You
my
would have been
name.
in a good family.
yeah.
This is all
No,
a joke.
this is.
I know.
I didn't. Yeah, no.
Osama, bro.
Osama bin Laden's neighbor. No, that's crazy.
Oh,
So
man.
death is something that you're not really afraid of, but you are. Why are you afraid? Yourself, not about somebody. I'm talking about you individually, your own death. Why are you scared of it?
Just the unknown, I think. That's the thing about like with me and I guess fearing death. It's not that like I let it stop me from doing things, right? I mean, I still ride motorcycles, still dirt bike. I don't wear helmets when I dirt bike. Skydive, rock climb. I'll do whatever. It's not like it, but I do have that like your stomach almost drops, right? And you don't feel good. And like I don't have that feeling anything else except ghosts. It's the only other time I feel like my stomach dropping. Yeah.
Would
Ghosts
you
are-
would you ever want to consider the possibility of you dying and then becoming a ghost in your own house and then just haunting your
I think that'd be a
siblings?
perfect full circle moment. The thing I fear the most is what I became.
Why do you think this fear is so prevalent in you of death?
Not just me, bro. It's like the number 2 biggest fear in the world.
I think it's very abnormal. I think it's very normal to not be scared of death.
Everybody fears the unknown, bro. Do you fear ghosts?
No.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah.
But you don't fear them at all.
No. I think that they can be. I mean, I strictly speak from a Christian background, right?
Yeah.
With that theological mindset, but no. I mean, I don't. I mean, they can scare me as much as they want. I'm not immune to fear itself.
But
But-
there is some like, oh man, homeboys in my house right now.
I mean, honestly, no.
No, you
Not
don't ever
really.
feel like that
No. I mean, I've had my own experiences with
with ghosts.
supernatural things, and they scare the crap out of me, but I don't.
This guy doesn't believe in it at
I don't
all.
believe in
Dude.
ghosts.
No.
Tell me your story. I'm curious.
Yeah. I'll tell you my favorite one.
You have a favorite one?
Yeah.
Damn.
I definitely do have
You
a
have it
favorite one.
categorized.
We've talked about this.
So it was my senior year of high school. I went to a military academy,
Mm.
and we didn't get out till late, and we went in extremely early.
Mm-hmm.
And this is when I was doing track, and I had a horrible time keeping up with a set schedule. So when I'm supposed to be doing homework, supposed to be ironing, doing my uniform, it's probably 3:00 in the morning when I should be asleep,
Mm-hmm.
getting prepared for the next day. Well, one of these mornings I was ironing my blouse and I decided to take a little break, a quick nap. I fell asleep on my bed, and my bed is typically up against the wall like this. I fell asleep maybe right here. My bed is from that wall to maybe here. Fell asleep right on the corner, and I woke up to a big old spider web. I mean, massive, across my
No, I
my
never
roof,
heard this one.
essentially.
Okay.
And I kind of like sat up really quickly because I hate spiders. I started blinking, trying to find this thing, and I couldn't find it. And from one blink to the next, there it was, the legs probably the size of an arm and a half of mine, and it's just there in the corner.
You're describing a spider, right?
A spider.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I blink and it was gone. The web, the spider was just gone.
That was God's way of telling you could be Spider-Man. That was
Maybe.
that was that was
Maybe.
Spider-Man calling,
It was
bro.
giving me the little tingly senses.
You're gonna be the Mexican Spider-Man, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was actually doing a research project on a place called Skinwalker Ranch, and I was diving into essentially these dark supernatural experiences that exist on this ranch. And as a Christian, I believe when you open a door to certain things, the door's open. And I believe that Satan was using that, or maybe not Satan himself, because why would he waste his time on a little old me? But believe that it was a fear tactic, which is why I don't fear ghosts, because I just view it as a
Distraction.
way to get me scared, to get my mind off of God.
Wait, so at 3 a.m. you were researching on your laptop.
Well,
and then this
as
happened.
I was ironing, I was doing research, and I had been doing research for maybe 2 weeks at this point.
So you were multitasking, and then this web appears out of nowhere, and then
After
it
I
goes
decided
away.
to take a nap, yeah,
And then it goes away.
yeah, in the blink of an eye. It was there in a blink of an eye.
But you didn't see anything.
But you
Did
mean
you see a ghost? Did you see like a person, a
Well,
human?
so I don't think ghosts take on the stereotypical ghost form. That's not what I believe. I believe it takes in anything.
Insidious.
Takes anything
the
that
movie.
it chooses to basically scare you. Because I don't believe fear is from God. There is a healthy level of fear that we should have of God because He's God, but I don't think it's from God. So whatever the enemy wants to use as fear, he'll use as fear, whether that's death, the fear of death itself, or whatever.
So you think ghosts is from the other side?
I would say that they're evil, yeah.
Really? So when people say like my grandmother is still in this house or whatever, right? And she's a ghost and she's watching over us.
Just had an evil grandma, bro. Just had an evil grandma.
Is that what you think? It's evil? Evil grandma?
I would honestly have to sit down and wrestle with that myself, but I
Because
just
you've heard that, right?
Yeah, I have. I would say at the utmost, anything that distracts you from what I would call, right? I'm not going to impose this on anyone else. What I would call God's truth, which is what I find in the Bible. If it distracts you from that and takes you down a path that is not quote unquote godly, it is not good. So to that, I honestly, I'd have to sit down and wrestle with. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I heard that there's dueños in my house.
But I have an explanation for what happened to you. The spider webs are hard to see. You know, so it might have been possible that you didn't spot it before, and then you saw it, right?
No, I
Could
mean
have
like
been.
it was like a cartoonishly freaky large spider web,
like an actual like proper.
like a proper spider web, yeah. And then in one from just in a blink, the spider showed up, and then in another blink, it was gone.
Like Peter Parker
Everything.
type stuff, like straight up.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
That's a trip. No, I've never had any experiences like that. I've never seen anything even. I've heard some weird stuff going on. But I've never seen anything. That's the thing. Have so you've seen things though?
I would classify that as seeing something, yeah.
Oh.
But what did you see? You didn't see anything.
I haven't seen
You just
anything.
heard sounds, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's one. So when this guy thinks I'm crazy, bro. But I know this shit exists, dude. Like,
I don't believe you.
this is a weird thing. Okay, so me, my dad, and my dad's wife, Jessica, in the living room, and just talking about this. We're doing some construction on the house. This is last year. doing some construction in the house, just talking about it in the living room. Like we're like the dining room and living room is almost like in that hallway, if you remember.
Yeah.
And we're talking, and I hear Mia, my little sister, say, "Guy." She calls me Guy. She's Guy, and I kind of ignore her because we're talking, and I hear Guy again loud from her bedroom. And I'm like, and I just kind of turn and I go to go get her, and Jessica goes, "Matt, where are you going?" And I'm like, "Didn't you hear me?" And she was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "But she's not in the bedroom." And she's like, "Look on the couch." And she points to the right of her. Mia's on the couch sleeping. Nobody's in that bedroom.
It's pretty dope.
That is not dope. That's a dueño, brother. That's a
pretty
little
dope. That type of stuff gets me excited.
that
That's
kind of
pretty dope.
stuff freaks me out, man.
Maybe that's because you hear the word guy so often. You were hallucinating.
She heard it too, and my dad. And my dad doesn't believe in any of this. He's on your side with things.
How many cans of soda did you have that day?
I'm zero.
How many cans of soda did you
It's
have?
not a sugar high.
He was on a sugar high, yeah.
Usually a soda an hour. One soda an hour, 24 a day.
Yeah, bro. That's unless you've seen something physically, that's the only people that I'm like.
My
I'm
dad and Jessica also heard this.
They heard this, sure, but it's
What do you mean you know? She's right next to me.
they're around the little kids so often. They hear the
All
word.
three of us hear this simultaneously. How are we linked?
Possible. You're a family after all.
No, bro. Jessica is not my blood.
Yeah, but
No, bro.
her blood's your blood. I don't believe in ghosts. I just refuse to believe anything exists that's ghostly that can be seen or heard. I think it's our own demons inside.
That doesn't make any sense, bro.
Makes sense.
Because you
to me.
believe in aliens and stuff like this.
Aliens are species like humans, similar.
What the hell's the difference in a fourth dimensional species?
No, that's
versus
like that's like saying I believe in cats and dogs. It's the same concept because they're different types
It's
of
not the
species.
same.
How? They live in different planets and they will eventually come to Earth. How's that? No, that's a terrible analogy, man.
That's a great analogy.
No, because aliens are completely different than ghosts. Ghosts are something that's not humanly formed.
They're both something we can't see, but for some reason, we
No,
still believe
aliens
in
I
it.
think we'll be able to see.
We can't see it right now, though.
Yeah, because aliens have not landed on Earth. They eventually will.
I believe that they have landed on Earth.
You believe they have landed on Earth?
Yes.
Okay, what proof do you have besides the Joe Rogan podcast? What other credible evidence do you have that aliens have landed
No,
on
it's
Earth?
just a hunch. Same thing
Just
as a
a
ghost.
hunch.
Same thing as ghosts. It's still a hunch.
You think aliens have landed on the Earth?
I'm a firm believer in aliens and
100% with you on that.
ghosts
Not
and-
ghosts.
and anything that goes essentially anything that goes bump in the night, I am a firm believer in, and I classify aliens in that category. And again, I can't escape my belief system, but that is, I just clump those all in together.
Right?
Yeah.
Because they're things we just can't see. They're all technically supernatural because we don't understand it. Like, we won't understand the physiology of an alien.
If Baby Yoda shows up, you can see Baby Yoda. These aliens are not like I don't think
If a ghost is in front of me and I can see it, I'm
That's
going to say
not-
I can see that.
Yeah, I just don't think of aliens and ghosts as the same thing. I think of aliens of it's like an actual species of people that exist somewhere in another planet that will eventually come home to Earth, and
Well, I don't know.
ghosts is something
I
like
think
made
a
up.
ghost, I don't know exactly what, but I believe it's something in the purgatory. That's what I think. Something's unsettled about a person on Earth. After they pass, there's something unsettled, whether it's a relationship that they've had with their kids or whatever it is, and they're not fully like ready to go, basically.
So
So
that's-
they're still here.
Is that a doctrine of Christianity, like the ghostly aspect?
I don't know. Is it? I don't know.
Uh,
There's a doctrine of it.
No, like is it mentioned in the Bible? I don't know. I'm genuinely curious.
I don't know. You would know that.
you're speaking. So you're asking if there's a doctrine about
Like,
ghosts.
let's talk about ghosts in the
essentially.
Bible. Yeah, what does the Bible have to say about ghosts?
I don't know of a specific reference of ghost, or I think to put an image to this, like a grandma that hasn't fully passed on, like you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Which purgatory is a lot more, I would say, I believe, based in Catholicism. This is just me speculating. This is not theological at all. This is me just speculating and having fun based on what you just said. I mean, I would. So when you look at the
Mhm.
heaven and hell, the imagery of it, the simplest way to look at it is from a Christian perspective is heaven is eternal fulfillment with God, right? You get to spend eternity with God. That is heaven. Hell is eternal separation from God.
Mhm.
That to me speaks of unfulfillment. So when you start talking about a
Oh,
purgatory,
I see what you're saying.
it's this unfulfillment of having not done something. And I think so many people try to, and I think this is pretty based across all religions. People try to fill up their heart so much with other things instead of God.
Mhm.
And
Right.
that's where so many people run into issues. That's why so many people feel so unfulfilled in their life.
So do you think they actually are in hell?
Who specifically?
Like the people in the purgatory, air quotes?
I mean, in Christianity, there's no.
There's no purgatory?
I mean, the closest thing that you can come to, I believe, is the Hebrew of Gehenna. And I may be absolutely wrong in that. But, and there is I don't know if it's a doctrine. And I'm going to do a horrible job explaining this. So anyone watching that is a Christian theologian or theologically sound, I'm so sorry. I'd love to hear your feedback, though.
We'll let
But-
the Pope know in the comments. Pope, if you're watching this, Pope Leo.
I like the new Pope. Don't like the old Pope. But
You like Francis?
he's no.
Why?
No.
We'll talk about after. Let's finish this.
Yeah. So there is this belief that heaven and hell. I feel so bad that I'm gonna get this worded.
It's fine, bro. Just tell us,
the-
yeah.
The semantics wrong, but it's not actually in existence yet, because the return of Jesus Christ has not actually happened yet. So who do we spend eternity with? Like the whole point of Revelation is the returning of the Messiah, and this concept of Gehenna, which can be closely related to, I guess, purgatory. It's a place of waiting for the believers because Christ hasn't returned yet. Once Christ has returned, then we go to that place. But I don't necessarily view it as a place of holding like a jail cell, like you're talking about.
Okay.
I believe that everyone's just waiting for their judgment until the return of Christ.
Okay. So similar concept. I don't think purgatory is like a jail cell where God is holding these people like you have to come to terms with what happened on earth. I think it's more like the actual soul within that person is unsatisfied. Not that God is unsatisfied with the person. Like he probably knows whether
Yeah.
to send them to heaven or hell then. I think because he
Okay.
knows all, right? I
Yeah.
think that it's just their soul isn't ready to leave earth because they feel whether they didn't talk to their kid in years or they murdered somebody and they have to tell like the victim's family something. I think there's something like that within the soul that tells you, hey, like your job's not done here.
I would view that as a jail cell.
You would view that as a jail cell?
Yeah, that sounds
A
like torture
personal
to
jail
me.
cell?
Yeah, that sounds like torture to me. Imagine
Yeah.
having already died and
And
you
you're still
live
here.
with the regret. Like, for example, losing a loved one, right? Living consistently every single day, you don't escape that feeling of regretting to cherish that time more. That sounds like torture to me. If I have to live that all the time, that sounds horrible to me.
It does sound horrible, bro. It sounds
Like, imagine you lost your dad
scary.
and the last argument that you had with him was like, screw you.
yeah, that's
And
crazy.
then he's gone tomorrow. You live with that for the rest of your life. Now imagine that in eternity. I don't care what faith background you have. That sounds like hell to me.
But maybe it's deserving.
I would say that yeah, deserving, definitely.
Maybe. Right?
Definitely.
I think the whole concept of ghosts was probably invented by people who were like schizophrenic at a certain point in
bro.
time, and then they saw things, they were hallucinating, and then it just became like this tradition that was passed on, and then people started believing in these things because it's an easy explanation. Oh, there was a ghost that took away my thing, or it's just
That's
a very
not the
easy
explanation at all. That is the most difficult explanation.
No,
because
it's
you
a
can't explain it.
supernatural force came and they just took it away. Boom, solved.
Took what away?
Ghost, whatever it is. If there's a
But what I'm trying to tell you is like my experience. There's nothing to explain. I'd much rather have a solid explanation. My baby sister called my name.
But let's actually dive into your situation. I want to know, okay, so how many people were in the house when that happened?
Me,
Yes.
my dad,
Yes.
Jessica,
Yes.
Mia,
Yes.
and Miley.
And Miley. And
Miley.
who did you hear? Mia was the one you said. That's
Mia
that guy?
was the one.
That Mia's voice said
Miley
guy.
wasn't even speaking at that. She was like 2 months old and she was sleeping.
They were both sleeping.
They were both sleeping. Miley was in my dad's room.
Mm-hmm.
Mia was on the couch.
The moment you heard the word guy,
Guy.
you and Jessica and your father looked at each other like
Yeah.
the Spider-Man meme. Like
Yeah, we're like,
you were
who did this? Exactly.
literally. So you looked at each other.
The first time, yeah, I kind of looked at the room
This happened more than once.
twice. She said the name twice. That's my point. So the first time, I looked back at the room, right? Because we're in the hallway, right? Remember, we're in the hallway. I look back at the room, but they're continuing to talk. My dad's telling us about the story with whatever the construction happened. And maybe 5-10 seconds, it's not like it was guy. It was like guy. Talk, 10, 20 seconds later. Guy! Like, you know when a kid's calling you and you the first time they're waiting for you to answer, and the second time it's like they're saying it louder because they want your attention. It's like that. It's like any kid. It was normal.
On a scale of 1 to 10, describe the pitch of the sound. Like, no, how loud was it? I'm serious. Was there a discrepancy between the first and
Yeah.
second? So the first,
second was
can you
louder.
just exactly replicate guy like the first time and the second time? No, I'm serious. I'm actually serious.
Okay? Guy!
That,
First.
that was the first time.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Guy!
Okay.
Second time. Guy!
It was exactly like that.
Fuck off. Exactly like that.
Okay, so that's pretty loud. That's not like a whisper.
That's what I'm telling you.
Could it have been that Mia was speaking in her sleep? Because people speak in their
Bro,
sleep.
when if I'm in the restroom and I say, hey, Ibrahim, and I'm right here and I say, hey, Ibrahim, are you going to hear a pitch difference? Of course.
This has happened to you. I've called your name and you like go to the opposite direction.
Yeah,
I've seen that
right.
in you. You have a
It's
problem.
never happened. That doesn't happen.
So what did you say to each other when you saw this? Like, were you guys all like?
I was already walking to the room, and Jessica goes, Matt, where are you going? And I said, to the room to get Mia. I literally said, to room to get Mia. She called me, and I look at her, like, are you crazy? Like, you, and she's like, she's right here, and she points right. Then I look at her, I'm like, did you hear her name? So did you hear her call my name? She was like, yes. I look at my dad, and my dad's just like.
And then they heard it, the word guy again.
They heard it twice. She said it twice. You can go ask her.
No, I believe this happened.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, maybe it could have been Jessica calling your dad guy. Does she do that?
It was like this close from each other, dude. That's what I'm saying. There's no explanation. Why would I want this complicated?
Because your dad
situation?
has my position. He doesn't believe in ghosts. What did
doesn't
he say?
believe.
What did he say in this
He
situation?
says he heard it.
So what did he say after that?
He
Did he
says-
say ghosts exist?
No, he didn't say it. But he said, I don't know what that was. That's what he said. I don't know what that was, but I heard it.
Yeah, what if they're messing with you? What is the
Pretty
whole
awesome.
prank?
No,
That's
pretty awesome.
possible. You should ask them that.
bro, we've talked about this so much. Jessica's told her whole family. We've told my family.
Yeah, it's like a whole big prank. She keeps saying, like,
get Matt G. Funny.
I would die laughing,
No,
bro.
that's not,
That's
my
the
dad
case.
has pranked me.
Yeah.
My dad has pranked me with like ghost type shit, but this was not
I
it.
think you
dude.
should get a clarification just in case, because this might be like
Call my dad right now,
the
Russ.
best prank in the world.
Call him right now. Ask. It's not a prank, dude. I'm telling you, bro. Why would I want to make this all up, bro?
What do you think it was?
I'm telling you, I thought it is a ghost. It was something. I don't know what kind of ghost or what kind of situation, but it was something supernatural.
One of my favorite quotes is there's no such thing as an atheist in a trench.
In the trench?
In a trench.
Okay.
In a battlefield trench.
Yeah, they're all praying. Everybody's praying. Absolutely.
I believe that a lot of, I mean, if you ever hear of a smoke pit, it's just a bunch of guys,
Yeah.
maybe inside of a fob or a compound that are sitting around a fire pit telling stories, and sometimes it gets into pretty weird territory.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have friends that are military. One specific friend who was overseas SF, and the things that we end up talking about, I think I truly believe this, the spiritual realm, however that sounds, the spiritual realm, I believe, is a lot more real than the physical realm that we
I agree with
live
you.
in. Yeah.
I think like even that sixth sense everybody says, oh, like when you know somebody's looking at you, but you're not looking at them.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
That's the thing, dude. Like there's stuff we can't comprehend because we're human. Yeah. But there's stuff out that even Jessica's mom, I remember this, dude. Jessica told her mom just looked at her, she's like, in Spanish, she's like, oh, it's a dueño. That's all she said.
Yeah.
And she was like,
is a ghost?
a dueño is basically I don't know. I don't know if it's a religious thing or just maybe a culture thing. I don't know. This is the first time I ever heard it when she said this. But it's basically, this is how they described it. A little creature. This is how they described it. It's a little creature that follows kids around. There's good ones and there's bad ones.
Like a pedophile
No, what do you? It's like a supernatural creature.
that follows kids around specifically.
Yes, kid that follows kids around and will say things to kids, and it'll make sounds like it'll mimic things that are related to you, close to you. Like it was a no brainer to her. That's what it was.
Baby Satan. It's like
Maybe
so what's the term again? Can you say it one more time?
dueño.
Dueño.
D-U-E-N with the enya. With
It's
like
a little
line.
creature that follows around kids.
Dueño, yeah.
It's not proven to be evil or good. It's just we don't know.
Yeah, they
He
don't know.
just says guy a lot. That's all we know so
It
far.
says guy a lot.
Guy.
But yeah, and when she said, I'm like, oh my god, dude, this is weird. This is weird. I don't like that kind of stuff at all. But I do believe in this stuff, man.
So death. How can we get you to not be afraid of death?
The thing is, dude, I don't have a problem fearing it because I confront it every time I have that feeling.
I mean, my question is, do you have a healthy fear of death or an unhealthy fear of death?
I think right now it's mixed because I know good things are coming.
So so is your unhealthy fear of death?
It's just
So
not
you
knowing.
you just said that you know. Okay, so let me ask this: when you say that you know good things are coming,
Yeah.
what do you mean by that?
I know, well, I guess I don't know. I could go to hell, right? But God willing, I go to heaven, and it's better than this place. But I do find a lot of beauty in this world. Even the bad things, I find beauty in it.
So just to clarify, when you say there are good things coming, you are specifically talking about after you die.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why we're supposed to have confidence to be able to face death head on. Right?
Right.
Why do you? What's the
I do
negative
have a
connotation with death?
I think I'm contradicting myself here. I don't know. It makes more sense in my head.
Mm.
But the reason I fear it is because that feeling of, like, when you go to sleep at night, you don't really know what's happening. Like, your brain, like, you don't know Leelan doesn't know what's happening. Your brain has some sort of, like, understanding. Hey, I'm sleeping. We're having these dreams. These dreams are for whatever reason, right? But we don't actually know. When death happens, I don't even think your brain knows what's happening. And so there's nothing subconscious. It's just pitch black. And then I know there's a heaven to come, right? I don't know how that process looks. I don't know if that process looks like, hey, I die now and I go straight to heaven. Or if that process looks like how you said, right? You sit in this area and you wait for God to bring you to light. And I don't know. I don't know what that looks like.
Why do you need to?
I don't.
Why does that bring you so much security?
Security to know?
Yeah. Why?
Logic?
What about logic though? We literally
It's not
talk.
logical.
It's not logical.
What's not logical? The after dying process?
Yeah, because I can't
The
comprehend it.
specifics of it.
Yeah, I can't just like ghosts. Like, I can't comprehend it. That's what's so crazy to me.
Okay. But according to your faith, what happens directly after you die? Does it say that in the Bible or no?
No,
It doesn't
there's.
say that.
I don't think
you
I
can
never heard-
interpret. There are interpretations, but I'm not going to sit here and
Right.
BS you.
say
Yeah.
this is exactly what. No. If any Christian says this is exactly what's going to happen, I don't.
Even priests, like, priests are known to say that.
you don't know
You
what's
don't
gonna
know.
happen.
Like, you just have to have confidence in God, and then that and trust. Yeah, that's what faith is. Yeah.
Mm.
So which brings me to, like, so
Next
why do you have such a struggle with having to know what's going to happen when you have this? And I'm going to use air quotes.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that you don't believe it,
Yeah.
but you're challenging this with yourself
Mm.
in your own self. You're challenging it. Quote unquote, you're going to go to heaven.
No, I don't know that. I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know I'm going to heaven.
But you
I said God
know
willing, I
good
do.
things
I
are
said
gonna
God
come.
willing, good things will happen, and I'll go to heaven, and everything's
Okay.
fine and dandy.
So scale of 1 to 100, what are the odds looking at right now? Like if
Probably
you
a
had
2.
to, huh?
Probably not.
Not good. The odds.
I
of
don't
going to
know,
heaven?
bro. I don't know. I'm not the one to answer that question, man.
I'm kidding.
Everybody always finds the faults in themselves, right? I don't know.
1 to 100 odds. This guy's going to heaven.
Buddy turned a comedian. Everything is a joke, huh? So what is it? I don't know.
Hmm.
I can't tell you the answer.
I think I know what it is. No, I'm not gonna speak for you, but I'll speak for myself. I used to be,
I know where this guy's going.
Let's hear it.
Oh yeah, according to your faith, yeah, you know exactly where I'm going. It
took me a second to process.
yeah. Okay, I was as a kid growing up. I think as a child, you just feel like you don't have any power. You know, you feel like you're because life is so beautiful when you're a child. Everything is there. You know, if your parents are there, that's amazing. You get everything taken care of. You know, you don't have to worry about anything. You're like, this is beautiful. Like, I don't want this to end ever. So I think that's why children are so afraid of, you know, bad things happening, because the child's reaction, you know, is always the craziest because life is so beautiful. So I understand why I was scared of death as a child. But growing up, I mean, like, as an adult, as a man-child, I think, as a man-child,
Honestly, I don't think we ever escaped that.
As a man-child, I feel like, no, as an adult, I think I'm not scared of death anymore, bro, because it's supposed to happen to everybody, and it's something that's completely out of my control, unless I decide to do it myself, which is obviously not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's out of our control. It's the one thing that is truly out of your control. You have no control over how you know, die. You could take care of yourself, go to the gym every day, eat all the right foods, and still a truck can hit you on a freeway. You know, something can happen. So I'm not saying I'm completely unafraid of it. Like, yeah, I will say this, bro. Whenever things are going good in my life, I do get scared of
The bad thing
thinking
happening.
of the idea of, I'm like, when I really care about somebody, I'm like, damn, what if tomorrow something bad happens and this is all gone? So that is definitely something that I think about.
That's what you think about. Oh,
I think about,
okay.
yeah, like when things are going like amazing and I'm
Yeah.
like, tomorrow, man,
die.
like, yeah, I could just, can all just be taken away from me. Which may be a reflection of my mental state, because I'm like, if things are going bad, I'm like, might as well just...
Die? Okay, I don't think about dying,
no,
bro.
I'm not that extreme, but I do think when things are going amazing, I do think about death immediately. I don't know why, but I
Mental
always...
worry.
I don't know what it is. Like, I remember the distinct moments where I thought about death when things were amazing, and I was like, oh, man. Yeah. So that's my thought process on death.
Memento
So-
mori, remember death.
I have to ask you then: is your fear of death the physical, or what we would describe as the spiritual?
It's a good
And
question.
I do have to. I do appreciate your worldview tremendously.
Thank you.
And something that I do want to mention now is that it's seemingly two Christians and one non-Christian, and this is like the most beautiful conversation that I'd ever want to be a part of. Just
Let's make it
bunch
not
of
beautiful,
dudes.
real quick. Let's just tell him where he's gonna go. Let's just be real here.
Well, the fool made the joke himself, man. But it's just dudes being able to sit down, regardless of political, religious beliefs, and just be dudes,
Yeah.
be man children. You know?
Yeah.
Speaking of, he's a communist too.
That's where we
He's a
draw the
Muslim
line.
communist.
I'm not a
What a mix! What a mix!
I am not a communist. God forbid. I'm never going to be a communist. No.
No, I'm just kidding.
Communism sucks. Go ahead.
Definitely. But yeah.
Yeah.
So is yours the fear of
The physical or
the physical or
spiritual?
spiritual?
brother?
Mm.
I can't even tell you that answer.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that. I believe
Wow, that's a really deep question.
it is
Sorry.
a deep
Go ahead,
question, bro.
Yeah.
The brain and the soul are connected somehow, right? That I do believe that the brain and the soul are connected somehow, right? And the heart has something to do with our actual being.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, man, how do I feel? I just feel like when you die, bro, it's you're not gonna be able to wrestle with the idea even anymore. Does that make sense? Like, I won't even have control over my own mental process, because I do feel when you die and like you're enlightened and everything is better, right? But it's like, I guess my personality too, there's like a constant grind, whether within myself or in my real life, like with work, whatever, and it's gonna be gone. And it's like, how am I even gonna feel after dying? How is that euphoric? What is that euphoric feeling even? You know what I'm saying? I just don't understand. I can't comprehend it. That's the fear. It's just the comprehension of it. I know it's gonna happen. It is what it is, right? It is what it is. I mean, every time I fear something, I do my best to go do it because I don't want to have fear. But there's still some like unknown. There's still some unknown, even though I believe in God. There is still some unknown of how things are gonna happen, the process. You know, how you're going to be enlightened, questions, if you even have questions at that point, what God's going to show you, if you're going to be able to see your family still. You know what I do dream about, bro? I've told this guy on a different podcast. I've had this dream a few times already. Mm-hmm. I have a dream when I die, there's a funeral, my funeral is happening, and I'm at an omniscient view watching people at my own funeral giving eulogies. And that to me is fucking freaky, bro. Like that, I wake up crying sometimes hearing that. It's like it's a weird thing. I don't know.
It's a recurring dream you have?
I've had this like 3 times. I think I've never told you this. I thought we talked on the pod before. No,
never.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So
we
did, right? I think I've talked about this.
No.
You don't think about my dreams that often?
You have these.
Come on.
When did we talk about this? A long time ago, bro. Maybe in the beginning of the podcast.
This
Is
room.
this year?
Is this room?
Oh wow. Sorry you have that dream, man. What can I do to help you, man?
Yeah, bro. Just give me a massage every now and then, dude. That's all I ask. You don't have to do anything about it.
What scares you more? The physical or the spiritual of death?
Spiritual, for sure.
Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as a Christian, I have no doubt that I believe that I'm gonna go to heaven. But every day I'm supposed to test my faith. I can say right now I believe in Jesus Christ, and tomorrow live a life that does not equate to that. Salvation is how do I say this? Salvation isn't free because someone paid the price for it. And it takes a consistent believer to believe that. You have to have a certain, faith it's difficult, right? You look like someone who consistently works out. You may enjoy it.
Try to, yes.
Right?
Don't tell him that. Don't
Thank
tell
you.
him that.
Thank
Leelan.
you. I love this guy, bro.
Right? So you
He's indeed going to heaven, yes. I have heard.
yeah, that's what gets you to heaven, the plates. Worship the plates, brother. So you look like someone who tries, for your guys' sake, you try to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Yes,
okay?
Yes.
It's not always going to be easy, right?
Right. Yeah.
To an extent.
Like day is hard.
You have to have a certain level of faith in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That even when I don't feel like it, I am going to do it. I feel like you have to have that is the reality of Jesus Christ. I can say right now, I believe in Jesus Christ, but tomorrow I may not. I may not believe in the sacrifice and the sacrifice. I may not believe in the sacrifice that he paid for my sins. Tomorrow I may sin and think, oh man, I deserve hell.
What do you mean that you might not believe the next day?
Right. So today I may accept Jesus Christ, who died for all my sins.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Tomorrow I may sin and no longer believe in Jesus Christ. So the second you allow that guilt to enter into your heart and take hold, and you then tell yourself, I deserve this, even though Jesus paid the price for it, you are now contradicting what he did on the cross.
Okay, yeah, right.
Through my
because
actions. The Bible calls it grieving the Holy Spirit.
That's the one true sin, right? That's what I've heard recently. That's the one true sin when you commit it to the Holy Spirit.
Ask that question again, specifically the last part. I need to hear that again.
What I heard recently, I was listening to a podcast with Joe Rogan.
Okay.
Okay.
Who was the
not
host?
Not that it's
Who was the
relevant.
host? Was he a white guy?
Of course.
Blonde
Yeah.
hair?
Joe's definitely a white guy, but bald.
No, not
The guest.
that white guy. The other one.
The other guy.
Was there another guest who was a white guy?
No, I honestly don't remember who the
Okay,
guest
okay.
was. Yeah,
Go
it was a couple weeks ago. It wasn't like recent. And I listened to 17 Joe pods a week. But not just joking. But no, they did talk about the. To be clear, I don't know if it was Joe Rogan podcast. I was just listening to a podcast.
It was a podcast.
I was just making a joke. But they did say on there that there's one true sin in Christianity, and that is that done to the Holy Spirit. like the disbelief in the Holy Spirit or something along those lines.
Essentially, it is apostasy.
Okay.
The quote unquote unpardonable sin
Oh, there you go.
is an extreme hardening of the heart that does not allow you to then essentially willfully accept Christ back into your heart.
Which is the Holy Spirit?
Well, the Holy Spirit is the
guiding
helper.
force, right?
Yeah, in loose terms, yes, it is the guiding force. It is, think of it like a bridge. It allows us, the blood cleanses us to be in front of God, which is Jesus. God is God. The Holy Spirit, then, in very loose terms, is the wire that connects us. Okay, connects us to that power.
Yeah. So if you don't allow
apostasy is saying, I don't believe in Jesus, or more specifically, someone who was a believer going back on their faith and saying, I'm hardening my heart to this truth. I no longer want to partake in this.
Oh, really? So if they were a non-believer and they have this idea, it's not the same as being a believer and then coming back.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, there is
That's
a
in the
level.
Bible?
I mean, think of it like this. I mean, look at Judas.
Oh yeah, huh?
Right? He's a perfect example of that. And again, I want to clarify this. Anyone that's listening, if you have feedback, please, I want to hear it. Yeah, I mean, you think of it like this, right? So in my own walk with God, like I'm not gonna say that I don't sin. That's foolish. Jesus Christ himself says, don't let any man say that he is without sin. Every time I sin, there is a level of guilt that comes with that. Right? I feel bad because I think of Jesus being nailed to the cross, the pain that one must bear. Every time I sin, and I'm not saying that you should do this for yourself, but this is just my own practice. When I'm wrestling with that, I close my eyes. I picture having a hammer in my hand and a nail in the other hand. And I picture walking up to the cross and Jesus looking at me with a bloodied face and his crown of thorns. And he knows I've sinned and he's saying, go ahead, drive the nail into my hand. This is what I came for. And that hurts my heart. Now imagine looking at that and saying, I don't believe you anymore. And then walking away from that. That is apostasy.
Gotcha.
Wow, that's powerful. Yeah. So next time you drink a can of soda, you gotta think about that, Matt. You gotta think about that. No, but that's Mormons might be.
Do they not drink soda?
I don't think so. I don't think they drink anything that's caffeinated.
Brother,
Regardless,
yeah, there's a lot of weird Mormons out there.
I just want to say two things to your point. I'm a Muslim, right? And in Islam, the biggest sin is shirk, which means associating partners with God. That's what we believe. And a subcategory of that is in your life when you operate like something is so powerful that you feel like God doesn't have total control. That's a form of shirk.
Yeah.
Thinking that, you know, you have the ability to impact something and God can't really help you because that goes contradictory to this concept, right?
Yeah.
So I think when you said what's going to happen afterwards after you die that you don't really know. Well, I was thinking about this and I was like, if we all believe God is a supernatural force that's perfect. God is perfect. God is the only thing that's perfect and created the universe. Then God must have a perfect order that operates after life and death. So if we truly believe in God, we'll put our faith in the best of creators. Surely he has a way for the true believers to, truly rest in peace. We say rest in peace when someone dies, like rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace. In Islam, we say something similar. We say, to God we belong and to God we shall return. So if we truly believe that, then and I know it's easier said than done, then we don't need to worry about what happens when we die because it's in God's hands and he's the best of creators. Think of the best person in the world at anything. Yeah. God is that, but that at everything. He's just the greatest creator.
So I absolutely love that you said that. And I'm going to use my own personal analogy to the issue that you're experiencing. Right? Which is yes. this
back to patient zero, yeah.
This uncertainty, this almost when I hear you speak, it's like well, yeah, you've said it, it's a fear. I don't think of the physical. I think you've made your peace with the fact that death is an inevitability in our lives.
Mm.
But this after, what truly happens, and that's the key word, truly, because you don't know right now,
Yeah, nobody knows.
right? And I like what he said. If you truly believe in a God that is everything, omnipotent, omnipresent, everything, then why is it still that you struggle with that? Now, I'm going to share with you something that I struggle with consistently as a Christian that makes me feel that way. So the day of my accident, right? After I went flying like a javelin, rolled a little bit. I was laying in like this fetal position in the worst possible pain ever. And I remember, I think it was on my right side, I forget. But I was looking up at this amazingly beautiful baby blue sky with like a couple clouds in the air. And I remember being so scared, so absolutely terrified. Not because I thought I was going to die, but because of the amount of pain that I was in. I didn't know how to fix myself. Because my first thought after crashing was, I need to get up before someone calls an ambulance. And then I went to push myself up and nothing worked. So I scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
And I remember being so scared that I started to cry a little bit. And I realized that if I allowed myself to cry, I'd probably suffocate. Because it felt like I was breathing from a straw. And my whole nervous system was in complete shock.
Yeah.
So. And I remember just looking up at the sky and saying, Lord, I don't know why this is happening, but I trust you. Right? And I genuinely attribute my survival that day to the peace that then filled my heart. Because had I panicked even a little bit with the amount of air that I was able to breathe, I would have died. I would not have made it. And especially because the firefighters pull up and the EMTs and they're like, oh, he's still alive. Damn.
They said that?
Yeah, they said that. So, it was a very serious circumstance.
Wow.
And I'm not in no way, shape, or form when I say this, do I want to make myself seem so pious and such a great man of faith, because it's not. Like, I was just scared.
Yeah.
And I reverted back to the one thing I know brought me comfort. Now, I have such a powerful moment there, right? Literally in the face of death, which I was not supposed to survive. I have what the Bible calls the faith of a mustard seed.
A mustard seed.
The faith of a mustard seed. Very small amount of faith.
Okay.
Right? Which is extremely powerful. Yet, 2 years later, when I'm dealing with anger or frustration, I can't take the time to just, Lord, I don't know why you're putting me in a circumstance where this guy's being a complete douchebag to me, but I trust you. I can have such faith in such a dangerous circumstance. But in a normal day-to-day, just dealing with my anger, I can't have that same faith. That frustrates me. That bugs me. It's why. Why? I don't understand the process. Why? And you don't need to understand why. Faith is the ability to come back to God and say, I don't know why, but I trust you. So I don't know how this is going to happen, Lord. I don't know what the afterlife, the specifics of right after I die. I don't know what that looks like, but I trust you. So I just wanted to share that with you.
It's true. I think you're absolutely right. I don't find any fault in that. I think it's absolutely right. What's your biggest fear then?
I would say recently, probably these past 2 months, really. More so now over the past couple weeks, I wake up almost every day panicking. And the first person that I think of is my mom. And I think about losing her. And I already feel, because I've lost people over the past 2 years, I feel a little bit robbed. Like people, especially in my road to recovery, like I feel like people should have been here to see certain things. And they're not here. And I'm scared of losing her. I'm scared of maybe one day waking up and losing my wife or my awesome dog, pain in the ass all the time. I don't know. I guess in my own way, I'm wrestling with the fact that I can't. I'm going to lose them.
Yeah.
One day. That's what I fear most right now, I think.
More than spiders?
Screw spiders.
Yeah, it's tough, man. Death it's a form of death. In a way, it's a form of death. You're afraid of death in a way.
For someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoever, right? It's a very weird concept, right?
Yeah. It's the fear of the inevitable.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. It's the fear of the unknown. Inevitable is the unknown, and it's like, man,
No. Okay,
It's tough.
No. I don't think you can.
inevitable is unknown.
I think that is a statement that you're gonna have to wrestle with in your own walk with God. The fear of the inevitable. Okay, no. You said a very dichotic sentence.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say, especially like you can't say, "Oh, I know I'm going to go to heaven," and then say, like, I fear that.
I get your point.
What was the sentence you just said?
I said the inevitable is the unknown. That's what I said.
There was fear in there. I think.
Okay.
Was there? I don't know.
100% agree with you. Yeah, I saw the fear.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that's why
it's about fear. It's regarding fear. Death is regarding. So I'm saying, fear of death because, and then you said it's because the inevitable, right? And I said the inevitable is the unknown. And I do believe that, man. Whether it's me, the fear of myself dying, or fear of, you're right, like your family dying or your close ones, it's not easy things to grapple with. It's just not.
I was going, and I'm actually changing my stance on this now. I don't know what heaven's gonna look like. Right. So like
That's the thing.
So yeah,
you see, you get my point now.
I get your point. I don't fear it though, but specifically you said inevitable and unknown in the afterlife, but it is unknown.
Yeah.
Right. You're not afraid of heaven or hell.
I'm afraid of hell, definitely, but I want to be.
You're
in
not afraid
heaven.
of hell?
What's up?
You're not afraid of hell?
No, I'm afraid, but the idea, the concepts of heaven and hell, does that like scare you? Well, I think it should scare a true believer, because if you want to do good things, you want to go to heaven. So hell should scare you. Yeah.
They are the concepts. To us, that is the reality.
Right. Yeah.
So
no, it's a reality for me too, in my faith. Yeah. Heaven and hell.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Anyone who doesn't believe in those things,
No, I definitely believe in the hereafter. Yeah. No, the hereafter is supposed to scare you, right? Because it's supposed to hold you accountable for this life.
Yeah.
What I meant to say, sorry, was like heaven itself. The idea of it doesn't scare me, because it's supposed to be like a beautiful thing. Yeah. That's just, I was just saying that. Yeah. But I do think I think you asked this question. You said, are you more afraid of the physical aspect of death or spiritual?
That's a good question. Yeah.
I was thinking about this entire time, and I think I'm way more scared of the physical aspect of dying than spiritual. Because I know spiritual, God will take care of me. I don't know. It's out of my control. Yeah. But physical, like I've thought about this. Like, would I rather be, stabbed to death, shot to death, like die in my sleep?
I think we've all thought about that.
We've all, how would you want to die? So
in my sleep.
That in my sleep would be
Ideally.
the perfect. Right? God, if you're listening, let's make it happen. 40, 50 years down the line, hopefully.
Not 40, brother. We're gonna be 60s, man.
40, 50.
For real.
Okay, sorry.
60 years later, bro.
100 years later, never mind. A century later.
Yeah.
The physical aspect of death is to me the most scary, because you will feel it. I think you said like you don't really feel when you die. You don't really feel it, right?
You don't know what happens when you die.
Well, none of us know what happens when we die, because nobody that's dead has written about this is exactly how I felt when I died. So there's no way of knowing, right? But I can imagine if somebody stabs you and you slowly die, it's got to be painful, right? Or if somebody shoots you, and it's like not a quick death, like they get the closest thing to your heart, and that like vessel eventually carves out and you die. So the physical aspect to me. I know it's temporary, bro, but pain is
real.
Pain is real for hours on end. Like your blood, it's.
No, I think it's crazy. I just think like, dude, life moves so fast, bro. Time is like insane. And when I think about things, like if you really dwell on, this is something I'm learning. I'm just learning. But when you dwell on time time goes by slower. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you're worried about like this physical aspect, it's just like it does feel like it's forever. It does feel like it's forever. But when like the unknowing is the infinite. That is just what's going to happen forever. I know if I get stabbed to death, like, maybe in a day I'll be dead. I'll be in a respirator and I'll be dead.
Yeah.
But it's pain for you. It's the pain.
The physical pain of it that just like, yes.
That's what it is.
That's
Okay,
it,
I
yeah.
gotcha.
I mean, like, yeah, I mean, if it happens, it happens. But yeah.
I hope you don't get stabbed to death.
Me too. I don't. I hope you don't either.
Thank you, man. I think something that's giving me comfort though, thinking about death, is I would love to die for a higher cause. Like most people die natural deaths, right? They die of old age, they die of some disease, they die of.
Why though? Why do you want to die for some higher cause?
Because it's like, I guess it is a selfish way of thinking about it, right? It is selfish because you want your death to even mean more than it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Not just I don't know. I think it's also on the flip side of it. It's a sacrifice, right? Like let's say.
What is a higher? What do you?
A higher purpose, like let's say, there's a draft, and every single person is serving in the military, and the enemy kills me. Yeah. I died in battlefield as a warrior. That's for a higher purpose. I'm not saying the United States government is that higher purpose, but I'm just giving you an example. I'm giving you an example. Like I'm in my mosque and I'm praying, and some terrorist comes in and shoots me down, and I die. But I died. I sacrificed my life for my faith. That's the ultimate sacrifice. Like that type of death actually does not scare me. Sure, the physical aspect of it scares me. Yeah, like nobody wants to get shot, but beyond that, the depth of it, like you gave your life away, your entire life, for your faith. That is like inspiring in certain ways. So there is some sorts of death that I
have a deeper question for you.
What's the question?
So this is still in terms of a higher purpose, your faith, right?
Yeah.
Terrorist comes in.
Yeah.
Kidnaps you specifically, nobody else. They take you away. You're now in the chambers.
I'm in the chambers.
You're in the chambers.
Terrorist got chambers, okay.
Yes. And you're tortured.
Okay.
They snip your toes off. They peel your toenails off.
Yeah.
They snip your Achilles.
Every pod is rated R. Yeah.
They take off your calf.
Achilles?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's insane torture. It's like beyond Guantanamo what you're describing.
But that's your worst fear and your
pain, yeah.
And the greatest glory.
But that's more sacrifice, right?
So you'd prefer that?
I would prefer just getting shot in the head, obviously. So you were to ask me. Yeah. But there's
beauty in it.
But God will reward me. So I just think God rewards people in terms of sacrifice, right? Like if something is hard for you to do and you still do it for the sake of God, you'll be rewarded more because it was harder for you, right? So if you're giving me that example,
I don't know.
If these terrorists put me through pain and torture, God is just going to reward me more because I endured all that torture for the sake of my faith.
You believe that?
100%, yeah. God rewards you in metrics of sacrifice, right? It's easy.
I don't know.
I think so. Well,
in my
physical
world, I believe.
Yeah. Well, as Muslims, we believe like, He rewards you in terms of sacrifice. Like, how much did you have to sacrifice to do something? Because for me, it's easy to go pray to a mosque in America. But in Pakistan, my community, we can't pray. Yeah. So the person going to the mosque, risking their life to pray, they are getting more rewarded because it's harder for them and they truly believe in it. They're willing to risk their lives to go to the mosque and pray. So, I think God rewards you in normal day life based on the amount of sacrifices you put for His sake, not for your own sake.
You believe that?
I believe that. I really love the example that he uses about someone who lives in an absolutely persecuted country, right? Going out and exemplifying his or her faith.
Right.
But we live here in the United States where we are catered to, and we see so many depictions, especially growing up as kids, of what a quote unquote hero should look like. Now, in my Christian faith, I believe the highest honor is to bear your cross as Christ has bore his cross. Not everyone's gonna, especially here where we are not persecuted. I would venture to say we don't have that honor to live a persecuted life.
I would agree with you.
Or where we have our faith truly, I don't want to say truly tested either, but tested in that capacity. Mm-hmm. If I believe that God is all the omnis that he is, omnipotent, omnipresent, all those, then I believe that I'm living out the life that he wants for me here. right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that if I'm truly bearing my cross every single day as a Christian, that as he has claimed, I am living the highest honor a Christian can live. So whether my cross is, my literal physical disability, right? This is tough. I have a life expectancy of 30 years. I have to make every single day count. There's a lot of things that come with this. I believe that this is bearing my cross. And I would never trade the accident. I'd rather live that accident every single day because I truly believe that this is the path that God intended for me. And I'm going to live it to my best capabilities. And
Great.
that is honorable.
Great point. Because that's actually part of sacrifice, is accepting what happens to you. You know, you don't chase that. If that happens to you, you can aspire towards sacrifice, right? A life of that honor. But whatever happens to you, God willed it to be. So deal with it and put your faith and trust in God and let God take the rest of it.
And don't idolatrize your brother who's on a different path. Don't idolatrize your brother who's growing up in Africa, right? Being persecuted for his faith. I guarantee you your brother in Africa would look at your situation and go, oh man, that looks nice.
100%.
You live the comfortable life. If, let's say, I am idolatrizing your lifestyle of persecution, you would sit me down and go, with the nice smack to my face, go, what are you thinking? You get to live in a place where you are free. I'm not saying that I would trade your life, but you have the comfortability of worshiping in peace. I don't.
Yeah.
Why would you idolatrize my lifestyle? Don't do that. That's not right. That's not fair to you and your path.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's part of sacrifice. You can't choose a sacrifice. God puts it in your
But do you
hand.
think you're rewarded more for the more sacrifice you have?
So the Bible talks about life being a race, and those will come in first. Those will come. Not that one is necessarily better than the other, but let's say right now, I choose in my particular circumstance. I wake up tomorrow and I decide, you want to know what? I'm not going to be grateful anymore. I'm going to be so unthankful for the life that I have, and I live that life. Yeah, I believe I'm going to be judged for that, particularly because I got to be here, right? And we could talk about honor. We can talk this is my honor.
Yeah.
Right. My honor is to live this life the way that I'm living it. Your honor is to live your life the way you're living it. God honors those who honor the things that he's given them. He doesn't like it when his children don't appreciate the gifts that he's given them.
Making the most of what you have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I do firmly believe in that. Yeah. Absolutely.
So are you saying that there? Because I remember you saying this in the past. Maybe that's how I'm perceiving it. But you said that there's levels to heaven, right? And are you saying that if you have a high, like a honorable sacrifice, you're gonna go to the highest level? Of
Not
heaven?
saying the highest, but if
a higher level.
Somebody sacrificed their life. Somebody's killed.
Are you gonna be at the right hand of the Father?
No, there's no such thing as a father, according to my faith. But there's different degrees of heaven. Yeah, like prophets have the highest because they were sent by God. Like Jesus, Moses, I believe Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, according to our faith, has the highest level of heaven, and like other prophets. What was I saying? Yeah, so there's definitely degrees.
And who's below the prophets?
I don't know. All I know is there's definitely a pedigree of levels of heaven. Like
is that
there's
the same thing in Christianity? No, right?
I think
I'm not gonna say yes or no. I don't.
It's not talked about really, right? I've never heard of this in Christianity.
Well, the pedigree exists in the analogy that's given that everyone is to run a race, and those may not, life is a race. It's literally being compared to a competition, right? Like you're running a race. It's a track and field competition. It's a competition, but I'm saying I won't say yes. I won't say no because I don't know.
No.
I don't know. I'm not gonna speak on something I don't know.
But Christianity, for the most part, you guys believe heaven exists and hell exists. There's definitely physical things that exist, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that everybody that believes in Christianity will go to heaven, and everybody that doesn't will go to hell.
Everyone who believes specifically in
Jesus,
the sacrifice of the cross, yes, will go into heaven.
I'm screwed. No, we believe in Islam. I mean, I've told this guy and he knows. We talk about faith a lot, but we believe that everybody like even as a Muslim, for me, heaven is not guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. And we believe that it doesn't matter what denomination you are. Obviously, it helps to believe in the oneness of God and to worship God and to be grateful. Like, these are all things that will get you closer to heaven. But at the end of the day, it's up to God, to the all-merciful God, that is. So chances are, if you do good things, you will probably go to heaven. But it doesn't matter. You could be Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu. It's up to God to decide if you're going to heaven or hell. That's what we believe. Yeah.
So he's told me that he was like, so if he's right, then we could be saved, and if we're right, he's screwed.
Yeah, I'm screwed.
Literally, in essence.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's insane, huh?
Yeah. It's something that I still have to wrestle with,
Yeah,
because I don't know if I necessarily. I mean, I don't care who you are. That's a hard pill to swallow.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
Like that's a hard pill to swallow, but it calls into question what we define as good, as people, right? So, and then where do you get your moral basis, your moral standing for who then deserves to go into heaven and who doesn't? And that's what I believe in the Bible for. I believe the Bible is the moral standard.
Right.
So yeah.
What's really difficult, I think, for me, even more than you two, is because you grew up in a family who was just Christian, period. And
No.
What do you have?
I was Catholic. I went to Catholic school high
Sorry,
all the time.
Christianity though, bro.
No, like a
You had Jewish
generational
family
Catholicism.
or
So it's we didn't even believe in it. It was just like that's what my grandma is, so that's what I am.
Like, it's just heritage. It was just
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just, that's why I call it generational. It's just I didn't believe in it
that's what it
at
was.
all.
No, what I'm saying is like
I
you
would
didn't
say I
have
grew up more
opposing faith,
atheistic.
but you didn't have any opposing faiths.
Oh, within the family dynamic.
Yeah,
Uh,
like you didn't have Jewish people in your family or Muslims or Hindus or.
I mean, strictly between the Catholics and the Christians, yes, we did.
Personally, okay, I get what you're saying. I don't believe there's a whole big difference. That's literally
So
just
what
ideological.
denomination you're looking at?
If you're Mormon, obviously it's just weird, right?
Yeah.
But you get what I'm saying.
So
Between the,
before you, so what is
Yes.
what's the difference between Christianity and Catholicism? Isn't it?
no,
I think
Christianity is an overbearing thing, and there's Catholicism within it, and there's different types of denominations. So there's Catholicism, Protestants, Presbyterians, Baptists, Mormons, etc., etc.
So why do some people
Seventh-day Adventists.
when I ask some certain Christian people, that I'm not Christian, I'm a Catholic. Why do they say that? Or I'm Catholic.
Because
I'm
of the
not
Protestant Revolution, there was just like this thing Martin Luther did, and it basically there's just a stigma against Catholics because of all the bad doings that they had done in the past.
So Catholics are more likely to say I'm Catholic than Christian.
There's more. He's gonna say there's more, but in the root of it, that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand. Yeah, I'm just curious.
There's still a Bible. There's still two Bibles. That's just what it is.
Personally, the
Yeah.
distinction that I could go by for the most part
Mm-hmm.
is the question that I'll ask is, okay, are you the type of Catholic that prays to saints, the holy
He's
prayer
told us
of saints?
before, yeah.
Then that's where I'll start to draw the line, because I do believe that there are Catholics who will make it to heaven, absolutely. But once you start praying to another being that is not Jesus Christ, then that's where I start to draw the line between Catholicism and Christianity.
And that's a very similar take to him. They don't believe in that either. They don't believe in praying.
Only
to
one
anybody,
person
only
should be
God.
prayed to.
Only God.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
only.
only God
that's-
should be prayed to.
Yeah, that's all, to be clear. That's all I pray to. But
Yeah.
I am Catholic, just family, and there's some things that I do think are beautiful about Catholicism, right?
Absolutely.
And I think there's other things beautiful about Islam and being a Protestant or whatever. Point being is, I have family. Half of my entire family is Muslim. My entire mom's half of my family is Muslim, right? Entire half of my dad's family is Catholic. Christian. I'm just gonna say Christian just for the sake of it. Okay. It's a very odd concept for me to be equally close to each family when they have such, I don't even believe they're such opposing views. It's just, but in their own terms, it is, right? And maybe I don't think so is because I know my family. They're genuinely good people, and I don't think, and I've told you this before, and I've told you this before. I don't believe that God is going to cast somebody away just because of, hearsay or whatever it is. And that's what's so difficult for me. And maybe it's true, right? What do I know? I'm some fucking 24-year-old kid that sells pellets. Like, I don't know shit about shit. But what it's just very difficult because of that dynamic. I mean, my mom and my grandma are like part of my world. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's very, very difficult.
You say I don't think Muslims and Christians have opposing viewpoints on some things, yes, but at the core of it, we're all advocating for the same thing.
I agree.
Yeah, it's like
But
there's
also at the core of it, at the very core of it,
at the very core, yeah,
it is the big difference.
right. That's the big difference. But I mean, as a Muslim, like I believe in Jesus as a prophet. I believe in the Bible as a legitimate book of God that God revealed. I just think the Quran is the last
But
book.
Catholics,
yeah,
Christians don't believe that about Islam.
yeah. So I guess as a Muslim, right, from my
Yeah.
POV, I share a lot of the same principles and faiths that Christians might believe in. They
Yeah.
believe in Moses, right? They believe in the Torah.
Yeah.
And they believe in a lot of the other prophets that Muslims believe in. It's just, yeah, I guess from my POV, I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of like seeing, I'm
Similarities.
agreeing, yeah, similarities. It's just
I'd
like
say similarities too, but then you hear what I am, a Catholic, that side, and it's like nobody. They're not the same. Like there is no similarities. It was stolen from Christianity pretty much, and it's bullshit.
really, that's what Catholics believe. Interesting.
Yeah,
Some
they don't
Catholics.
believe anything is to come after the Bible, after Jesus
Mm.
Christ, and something came after, right? Was what Islam believes.
Mm.
And so his specific religion is it wasn't
Not
only
religion, sect. It's
sect
like denomination. Islam.
come on, bro.
No, it's not
Sect
religion.
of his religion
Yeah.
is even more than Islam. So he believes Muhammad, but then he believes somebody came after Muhammad.
It's different. So we believe that Muhammad, peace be on him, was the last law-bearing prophet. Like you can't bring like a book. So Muhammad brought the Quran,
Mhm.
Jesus brought the Bible, Moses brought the Torah. We just believe the Messiah has come.
Oh, you know what I've realized?
What?
You guys are the Mormons of Christianity, bro.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
How?
100%.
How are we the Mormons? He's not Jew. How are we the Mormons?
Who is it? John who? Who was the
Oh, you're talking about that guy.
leader of the Mormons?
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
Can you Google that? The leader of the Mormons? I forgot his name. But basically, a guy comes after Jesus Christ,
Mhm.
and he brings all these people of Mormons to Utah. And
Yeah,
that's basically what you guys are.
No, it's not how. We never. What are you talking about?
Yeah, in the 1800s as well. No, you don't think so? It's not the same? Why not?
No, it's not.
100%.
The Mormons are completely different. What are you talking about?
I would say
People
that the
of the Cross.
Mormons are completely different.
Joseph
Joseph
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah.
Like
Joseph Smith was a terrible person, by the way, according
He
to a
was-
lot of
he was.
accounts.
Yeah.
theologically,
Yes.
Christianity is very different from Catholicism, the way that I described it.
Yeah.
Theologically, Christianity is completely different from Islam. Oh, I mean, there can be similarities, but the core, in the core, just as Christianity is different from Mormonism, is completely different. It's ultimately the most important thing of the Bible is if you believe in Jesus Christ, do you go to heaven? Do you believe that Jesus Christ truly died for your sins? Do you believe in the triune God?
Yeah, Mormons believe
Right.
this too.
No, their belief is you are God.
Oh, you are
a
God?
mini God. You are in creation.
Really?
So you are
I did
in,
not know this. Okay.
yes, you
I don't know
are.
anything about Mormons. All I know is
Right,
just
so-
don't drink coffee. That's all I know.
Since you are since you are one with God,
Uh-huh.
essentially you are God. And Mormons, I am more than certain, he will say something which I'd love to have a debate on. Absolutely, that's what I'd love to do. But fundamentally, we are Christianity and Mormonism completely different. Fundamentally different.
Okay, and fundamentally, according to
That's not true.
Sunnis and Shias, yes, you are, bro.
No, we're not.
According to them, you are, though.
No,
dude.
according to them, we're not.
No.
There's one significant
Bro,
difference.
they kill his kind in Pakistan.
Yeah, we're
That's what-
persecuted, but
that's-
we
Yes, that is, and I think Mormons are persecuted in Christianity too.
Mormons and Christians are completely different. Like he said, theologies. What he's describing as a mini god versus that's a completely different theology. The only difference between Sunnis and and Ahmadis is we believe in the promised Messiah. We believe Jesus is dead. Sunnis are still waiting for Jesus to come. That's the only difference. We pray the same way. We believe in the same things. We celebrate the same festivals.
I
we
guarantee
fast.
if I ask a Sunni, he's not going to say that. A Sunni's going to say something completely different.
Okay. I think no.
which is fine. I'm not saying.
But that's
anything
the only
wrong.
difference.
I'm not even criticizing. I'm just relating.
No, but you
it.
can't compare us to Mormons. It's a completely different
Yeah, it's completely
scenario. It's
different.
completely different. Mormons is
Completely
completely different.
But as a Christian, you're saying this about Mormon. I guarantee a Mormon is going to say something similar to him. We're not that different. It's just this and it's just that.
And
You're-
That's my point.
I guarantee you a Mormon would say, well, we're not that different. from Christians.
Exactly my point.
But look, I can believe that I can get up and run right now.
No, bro.
I don't mean I'm gonna do it, brother.
Look. I'm not saying Mormons are. I get your point. You're saying Mormons aren't really Christians. That's your whole point. And I'm saying a regular Muslim, because my family are like Sunni Muslims, and I've heard them say this, that Qadi Ahmadis are not really Muslim. That's my relation.
They would
That's
definitely
my
say
relation.
That. Yeah, that would definitely
So
say
according to the general hierarchy of Christianity, like a Protestant, they're gonna say Mormons aren't really Christians. And in the overarching theme of Islam, a Sunni Muslim is gonna say Ahmadis aren't really Muslim. That's my theme.
In that relation, if it truly is that, then I get the
obviously
relation.
there's nuances, right?
I get the relation.
But a guy comes around
It's
the
a
same
very
time
simply, extremely loose. Loose.
What's your point? What's your overarching
loose.
point?
It was
What
just
were
a
you trying
joke
to
I
say?
was telling, and then it turned into this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't being serious.
Hey man, semantics.
Oh my God.
Semantics are important.
I'm not a Mormon, okay? I'm not like a
that's
Mormon.
what I'm like, God damn,
I'm
I'm
not
not saying
from
you're Mormon.
Utah.
But I'm telling a goddamn joke.
Probably the worst thing you can ever say as a Muslim is, "I'm just like the prophet." Like I'm just like the prophet. Like I'm just like God.
Well,
like
that's
the worst thing ever.
We believe that Prophet Muhammad was as close as it gets to being perfect. We do believe he's a perfect person. We don't believe he was a son of God. We just believe he was the highest of prophets. He brought the last book, the Quran.
Right.
And that's it.
That's it.
I have a question. Where does jihad come into play?
Jihad there's two types of jihad. There's the physical jihad and there's the jihad by the pen. So in these current times, there's no need to do a religious war. So the jihad is of self-reformation. That's the
That's what
jihad.
it means?
There's
Oh.
different definitions and layers.
Okay.
Obviously, in the times where Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, was living in Mecca, the jihad was the Jews of the time in that area and the other opposing people that didn't believe in God.
Jews were in Mecca.
Yeah, a lot of Jewish people lived in Mecca.
I don't know that. Okay.
A lot of other people that just worshipped idols, didn't believe in God, or believed in multiple gods, God forbid, lived there. And so the jihad at the time was they were trying to kill them. So to fight back and protect your area and to fight back. So that was a jihad of that time. Obviously, there's nobody doing that right now in America. There's no jihad on Muslim. You could say the war on terror was kind of, that's how they position, right? The terrorist organizations, they abuse the concept of jihad, which is supposed to be only when you're attacked. And you're supposed to fight in the way of God when clearly somebody's trying to take that away from you, right? So the terrorists use that.
In the way of God. So if somebody's trying to take away your religious freedom.
Yes, but they're physically, it's an act of war. Like there's battles, like
Like they're killing each
they've
other.
declared war on you. Yeah.
Then it's okay.
So there has to be a physical consequence. So I want to make sure I understand this, because this
it's a
does
very
interest
confusing.
me.
Yeah.
So there's jihad of the paper.
Of the
Of the
pen,
pen.
meaning
Of the pen.
like spreading the word of God.
And that has nothing to do with a
Physical,
physical.
no,
Okay, and
nothing.
then
There's
the
a jihad of the
physical.
self, of the physical and the self. Sorry, there's three types, I guess you
three
could say.
types, okay.
Yeah.
So
Sorry. One more time. Pen.
Pen meaning like spreading the
Right.
word of God
Next.
is self. The jihad of the self
And then third
is the
is
physical.
physical.
Yeah.
now,
Okay.
from what I'm trying to understand, in what
I might be wrong, but
circumstance-
I'm not an expert,
Okay.
so this is from my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
in what circumstance, what would have to happen here in the United States where jihad of the physical takes place?
It can't, because it's the American Constitution guarantees religious freedom.
No, I mean like
If it was,
I understand that, but like what would it have to take for to see jihad of the
hypothetically,
physical?
and again, I might be wrong,
Yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't want to give you. I'm not an expert. I
We're
don't
just
know
talking
anything.
about it, yeah.
Hypothetically, it would be if all the Christians and Catholics in America banded together, right? And they were like, we're going to destroy Islam. So they go house to house to Muslims, and they literally, their purpose is to destroy Islam. So then Muslims would have to unite, stand up, and fight back to protect their, rights. And only because there's a concerted effort, there's like battles being fought. You've declared war on the religion of Islam. Then possibly there is this, chance that Muslims would fight back.
Like Nazis on Jews.
Like Nazis on, that's genocide.
Maybe.
That's not a war. That's not jihad. That's genocide. It's completely different. Because that
So
was
when has this happened?
the Crusades were you
Crusades?
could say a form, but the jihad, I'm telling you, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, that was the jihad, right, of the sword, because they were trying to kill Muslims.
Is this in the Quran?
Yes.
Oh.
Jihad is
The
discussed.
Crusades is about in the Quran.
No, the Crusades. I don't know about the
Oh,
Crusades.
okay,
Sorry. I don't know about the Crusades. No, I don't
Okay.
know. I don't. No, it's not in the Quran because the Quran came in 600 and
Oh,
Crusades
I thought it
was
1200. Okay.
no. Quran came in 600. It's 1400 years ago.
Got it. I
The
thought
Crusades happened like what 1100, 10.
I think that's what I was like.
1000.
Oh yeah, I think it's like
No,
1200.
yeah.
Okay, got it.
Quran's 1400 years old. Yeah.
So wait, does most recent I forget his name every time. The most recent prophet in Ahmadi, what's his name again?
Promised Messiah.
Yeah, what's his name though?
What's up?
What's his name?
Hazrat Masimo.
Yeah, that's what I don't remember.
Yeah.
Does he talk about? Did he talk about the Crusades at all?
His name is Mirza Ghulam Ahmed. That's his legal name. Yeah.
Okay.
So what about it?
Did
What
he
about
talk
it?
about the Crusades at all?
I'm sure he did. He's written like
Okay.
over 80 books. which
Really?
You can access on the internet. Yeah.
Well, I'm just curious.
But he advocated for the
Wow,
jihad of the.
Interesting.
He said so. One of the things he said was
yeah.
the jihad of the sword is
Yeah.
really in the past. The new frontier is the jihad of the pen, where using your voice, using your freedom of speech to spread the word of God. That is the jihad.
Interesting.
So it's not violent or physical in nature.
So what if it was like a small band of people like the Ku Klux Klan banding together and killing Muslims?
well, that's like.
and then you guys could still
But
band
that's
together.
persecution, right? No,
but you
that's,
can go back and fight them.
well, the Quran does say if somebody, is trying to kill you, you have the right to fight back. It's definitely self-defense. You
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
just be like, yeah, just kill me anyways. You can stand up for yourself. So
Wow. See,
it's not jihad though. Jihad is a concerted effort by the whole entire religion, established by a leader. So at that
Okay.
time,
Really?
so
So what do you call that then? If it's just a small group of people killing another
Terror.
small group of people,
look, what do you mean?
just like Ku Klux Klan killing Muslims.
That's terrorism, right? Ku Klux Klan is
Okay, just
conducting terrorism.
That's it. Okay.
Well, yeah, no shit.
No, I
Yeah, I
understand,
don't understand.
it's
Sorry,
terrorism,
yeah.
brother. I'm saying like jihad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's yeah. So jihad is like, it's through God. That's
Yeah.
what. That's the problem is a lot of these groups in the Middle East, they use this. They abuse the concept because jihad is. I told you it's like a deep thing that is through God. So that's why they abuse jihad and they recruit young people and they say, do you want to fight for God?
we've
And
talked about this.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
that's
we've
how
talked
they
about this.
brainwash these kids in the name of jihad, which are abusing a beautiful thing, a beautiful concept of Islam for political and economic power. So
That's why I bring it up specifically.
yeah.
Because over the past, I think 3 months, I've been telling myself like, okay, I need to go and study jihad and its roots and what it means, and what more of a perfect opportunity than right
Right.
now to ask about
Yeah,
it.
I'm glad you asked, man. Yeah.
So I really want to understand these things. Okay, so I'm going to ask them. So you would call. So let's say tomorrow, all the Christians, all the Catholics, all the Jews banded together, and only through legislative, try to say we need to ban Islam, and the punishment of that, if we are found that you are Islam or believe in Islam, is jail. Is that enough for jihad?
No.
Of the physical. No.
Really?
It literally has to be
Physical.
the physical
100%.
shedding of blood
100%.
on an army-sized
Yeah.
level.
That's persecution. What you're describing is state-sponsored persecution. Yeah.
So you
That's
just go to
why-
jail.
So I'm
Well, why
trying
do
to
you-
understand like
No, it's a great analogy. to use.
where it comes through, because I mean I firmly believe in this. I believe that
Yeah.
Christians can be absolutely Islamophobic,
Sure.
right? Out of a fear because of what has been seen
Yeah.
on news or on Telegram chat, whatever.
Got one over there.
No. What?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to mark you.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I'm trying to understand that, because in the Christian faith there is no doctrine that allows for any sort of fight back, really, or other than
When eye for
Jew,
an
on,
eye.
on an individualistic level. What?
Jews? Were you joking or?
Okay. Yes. No. On an individualistic level, like if you break into my house
Yeah.
and I kill you, that's not murder. That's killing.
It's self-defense. Yeah.
Yeah, it's self-defense, but
Right.
there is no like right now, if in Africa, well, I can't even frame it like that. Let's say you're in Africa, predominantly is the belief is Islam.
Well, it's Asia, no? Pakistan's in Asia.
No, he's just talking about Africa.
Actually, I'm losing my own point here. Sorry, never mind. I'm gonna
But-
hold back. But yeah.
No, but that's a good point you brought up, the legislative, right? Because Ahmadis were a denomination of Islam, In Pakistan, we're persecuted literally through the Constitution. So the Constitution declares us
You have a constitution in Islam.
in Pakistan. No,
Oh.
Pakistani
Oh, so
Constitution.
it has to be interesting.
In the Pakistani Constitution,
Okay.
under the Second Amendment of the Pakistani Constitution, we cannot call ourselves Muslims in
Yeah, as a
Pakistan.
Qadiani,
Yeah,
right.
we don't have the right to vote. The only way we can vote is disavow our religious beliefs. So it's state-sponsored persecution, right? So as Ahmadis, we don't say, "Oh, this is the jihad, and we got to fight back and kill all." We just say, "This is state-sponsored persecution." We can advocate and talk about it, but we will never fight back because,
And I think
yeah.
these are very important discussions to have.
absolutely, yeah,
I'm not even speaking as a Christian right now. Just, everyone should test their faith in well, whatever that looks like. But me personally, if there was a doctrine in Christianity that allowed me to fight back, I don't know if I could believe in it. I don't know if I could let myself. For example, the Crusades, absolutely twist of scripture to have that done.
Yeah.
Because if you truly want to believe in Jesus Christ, who came to bear the sins for the world, then you naturally should have a peaceful heart. Because Jesus didn't come to bring war in the physical. That's not. He came to bring war in the spiritual. My enemy is not him, right? So because you're Islamic, I guarantee you Christians are going to be like, well, screw him. Certain Christians.
yeah,
Like,
for
screw him.
sure.
No, my enemy is not against you. My enemy is against what I would call the principalities of evil, the spiritual that I cannot see. And the only way that I fight that is through spiritual means, not through a physical means.
100% agree.
So if you were to come and attack me, other than in self-defense, I'm not going to do anything. Even on a statewide persecution level, I'm not going to
Really?
do anything.
You let it happen.
Well,
you
I mean,
advocate, you speak out against
yeah.
it. You
If
do-
somebody's coming to punch you in the face,
no,
because
but
of your
then
religion.
specifically, that's why we make the distinction between defense and attacking.
oh, I see what you're saying. You're not going to go out of your way to go kill
right.
one of these guys.
So the Crusades going. You want to know what? I think our best defensive move is offensive.
Yeah, go.
No. That's not how that works. Right? For the sake of the quote unquote Holy Land. No. No, that's not how that works. Which is why I'm asking you, how do you define jihad? So thank you.
yeah, did you understand? No, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, jihad, the physical kind, is like a
But that's
concerted
particularly
effort.
within your sect.
No, that's an Islamic concept of jihad. It's 100% Islamic.
So how
concept.
okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How do you yourself distinguish the
Ahmadi versus Islam.
the misinterpretation of those in the Middle East that call for jihad in the physical?
Well, I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
So most of the people in the Middle East, they use jihad because it's such a powerful force.
It is powerful.
They
Yeah.
use it to radicalize young minds. Because what did I say earlier? You would love to die for a higher purpose, right? They're like, you are telling me if I go out there and bomb this place and kill 40 innocent people, I'm going directly to heaven and guaranteed all these things. Hell yeah, my life is terrible anyways. I live in poverty. I don't have electricity. I'll do it in a heartbeat. Yes, for jihad. 100%. So
And they're illiterate.
a lot of them are not educated. Keep that in mind. So they're not, they have no formal means
Yeah.
of education. And in some
there's
cases,
nothing out there, they don't.
they do have schools. Only the richer people have access to them. And it's not like, there's definitely schools and colleges and universities in the Middle East. It's
I meant for those specific, the ones that don't
you're
have
right.
access, that there's
no,
nothing
100%.
for them.
Because the thing is, bro, we're talking about this in the last podcast.
Yes, I only meant that.
There's definitely colleges.
I only meant for
We can
those
agree.
that don't.
No, 100%. Because in Pakistan, bro, we talked about this on the last podcast. What happens is there's these institutions called madrasas, these religious extremist organizations that control kids starting from the age of 8 or 9. And their whole agenda is just brainwashing them with the most wildest of things, just so they could have soldiers, just like militias and mafias. And they lie to them. These people are corrupt. They're not Muslim, really. They're just Muslim by name. Their only objective is power, money, power, money.
So
So
would
they abuse-
describe those organizations as a Christian should describe the KKK, who they claim to be
100%.
Christian or
Thank you.
okay.
Literally, bro, Al Qaeda is the KKK equivalent of Islam. 100% agree.
Okay.
More
100%.
And
Al Qaeda is more powerful. Yeah.
those
Well, the
distinctions.
KKK used to be powerful. They used to be super powerful. 100 years ago. They were the
Really?
yes,
Who?
bro. The
Bombings?
KKK. Yes,
Oh.
the KKK have literally blew places up. What are you talking about?
Really?
Yes, more than yes.
They don't get the name
The credit they
terrorist
deserve, yeah.
organization for no reason. Like they literally just yeah.
They used to bomb places. They used to lynch mobs. You know.
Oh,
it's-
yeah. No, I know that. I just
They've blown things up. Yes.
Yeah.
you know why I'm relating it to something different? I'm relating it because they have RPGs, and I don't think I've ever seen a KKK with an RPG.
Well, KKK was also at its peak in the 1900s, where these weapon and
That's what
ammunition.
I'm thinking. That's literally what I'm thinking.
No,
guy.
yeah, it was just not
guy.
available.
Yeah,
It was just not
I get
available.
it. I get it. Yeah. I think when I think of KKK, I think of fires, lighting people on fire, lighting churches on fire.
Just walking a KKK member walking around with an RPG. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like you don't consider KKK to be Christian, really, right? They're
no,
just
no,
yeah,
no.
Just
exactly.
be honest, bro. Just tell them the truth.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
Exactly. So Al Qaeda's not Muslim. They're just a bunch of crazy guys that use religion as a tool for control and power.
But a lot
Very
of people
important
believe
distinctions that need to be
And
made.
a lot of
Yeah.
people in the West, they knowingly, and it's not the regular people, it's the political leaders. They use these fancy terms like jihad. Oh, Muslims want to espouse this concept of jihad against Christians. It's not true. Nobody wants to do that. It's these retarded terrorist groups that want to control.
So
And jihad itself is a
To an
beautiful
ex-
thing.
to an extent, I agree and disagree.
Okay.
I would say that I believe that there are extremists who claim to be Christians that want to get into politics, into these higher places, just as I believe that there are extremists of the Muslim faith that want to get into power.
Sure.
And that is, I believe, the main concern, and also why it's extremely important to talk about the terms jihad and these things, because it points out the fact that, well, no, it's the extremists that want to come in and it, I guess specifically from the Christian perspective, want to bring persecution against the Christians,
Yeah.
or vice versa to the Muslims. It's the extremists of the Christian, I was about to say faith, but it's nowhere near that want to bring persecution.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's.
But there's even Muslims on Muslims.
I
and
wouldn't
Christians
even
on
say that it's an
Christians.
unfair fear, but I believe that it's a fear that's absolutely taken advantage of. No one wants to be
yes.
persecuted,
Right.
but those that are evil want to be empowered to do those things.
And people in the West have preyed on that valid fear that any person would have, right? To be persecuted for their faith, for continuing a certain political policy in the Middle East, the war on terror. You know?
I would say that, and I may be wrong in this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I would say the right has taken advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
Where the left has denied it. Because why if anyone's an extremist, Muslim or not, Christian, Muslim extremist, Christian extremist, why wouldn't they want to join the side that's more lenient?
Mhm.
That would allow them to do certain things.
What do you mean which
Yeah,
side?
what
What
do you
do you
mean
mean
by
by that? The last part. What do you mean by which side?
So I believe that the left is much more lenient. They do have a lot more.
On what? On gender, yes, but you know,
I would say a lot of different things. Is the faith, importantly.
Not free speech.
Wait, what?
Not free speech.
They are.
left.
They are. Wait, what?
What are you talking about?
When you say free speech, what do you mean?
I'm very confused now. You're saying choose which side, right? You said the left or the right. I'm assuming you're saying
He didn't
say
say choose
choose.
which side.
I never said
Damn,
choose
bro.
the side.
you didn't say that.
No, this. I said one side tends to be more lenient
Yeah.
on certain things than other.
Wait. So you didn't say
No, I
when
never said
somebody's
choose.
deciding which way to go.
What? No.
Wow, I've completely misheard
You
that.
definitely heard Guy, bro. That was your head. that was
I'm
you,
sorry.
bro.
That was a
You
guy.
were circling it. Thank you. See my point. This guy hears things.
I literally heard something
What?
completely different.
No.
No,
Okay.
make it clear. I did not say choose sides. at
Choose your
all.
side right now.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I was like, I was like, wait, what?
Don't die on
Okay.
that hill.
You're saying the left is more lenient on certain things, social issues for sure, like
Yeah.
God, the
So, like,
concept
for
of God.
example, I
like you
think
could
that
be
we
gay and still go to heaven.
Yes. So I think the most
Yeah.
radical that I've seen. Oh, wait. Yeah.
That was a.
That's my belief. You can hate me for it. That's fine.
Okay, that was pretty funny though.
It was fun. So I would say the most radical
I saw
thing.
a comedian do a bit on this recently.
was
I
it?
just had to. Andrew Schultz. Yeah. Credit to Andrew Schultz.
It's funny, dude.
Yeah.
I love Andrew Schultz.
Great comedian.
So I think the most extreme thing that I've seen on the left so far, and not everyone on the left, I'm talking about the extreme left, is the somewhat acceptance of October 7th, where Hamas did their terrorist attack against
Gaza.
no, not Gaza.
Against Israel. Yeah.
Against Israel. Yes, thank you. I was saying the same
Yeah.
something else, but like if there's sort of any acceptance of that, I believe that that's wrong. And right, like that's terrorism. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Right?
You're
So-
saying they were just like, you know, they're like, well, it just happened.
Yeah, and
Kinda
then
like that.
and then what did you see? You saw a lot of pro-Palestinian, and I believe that there have been wrongs done on both sides, absolutely. But once you start saying, no, that was a good thing that happened, we start praising that behavior. That did not happen on the right side. That happened primarily on the left, on the extreme side of the left.
Extreme left. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a good point you brought up. October 7th was.
I'm not following. What's the point here? I'm sorry.
What's
I'm
up?
Not, this whole conversation, I'm not following.
I think we're trying to understand the terrorism and jihad and how it's construed in the media and in politics in America, right?
And why
Certain people have.
the understanding of why that's I guess the understanding of
Yeah.
why that's happened.
Yeah.
And the ultimate goal in doing this is to dispel any sort of negative
Connotation towards.
connotation,
100%.
specifically towards Islam, because this
Yeah.
is a big deal, especially to me as a Christian, because it's something that I've been wanting to do research
100%.
into. I want to learn about these. I want to understand the distinctions. So yeah.
These are good questions.
Okay.
One, October 7th, what happened that day? 100% terrorism, because in Islam it says the killing of one person is like the killing of all of mankind. By that construct, Hamas killed what, about 1,000 people? 1,400 people they killed. Innocent people. They were civilians. Now there was a lot of propaganda by Israeli government officials saying that they killed babies and there was instances of rape and etc. They never provided the evidence for that. But nonetheless, innocent civilians were dead, and nobody should be trying to
Thank you for that. Thank you
yeah,
for that.
nobody should be saying,
Thank you for
you
that.
know, it's just. But if you look at the history, right? There's no ifs, ands, or buts to that act of violence. But if you look at the history, Hamas. A lot of people on the left will say this, that Hamas was resisting to the Israeli occupation. That was a sign of stop killing our people because we can kill yours too. And in my opinion, morally, what Hamas did was wrong. But politically, that's what motivated them, because they view the Israeli occupation as violent and they've killed a lot of people.
Okay. Yeah.
The point that I'll disagree with you about the both sides is now, if you look at what's happened, Hamas killed 1,500 people, sure. Wrong, terrible, and Israel has a right to defend itself and go out for the terrorists that conducted this. They don't have a right to kill innocent children and women, which they have. It's basically a genocide. Not basically, it is a genocide that has gone way long overdue, and there's no justification what Israel is doing. So I don't see it as two sides. I just see it as an occupying force, Israel, that is oppressing children and women that have nowhere to go instead of the place that they live in, Gaza. So, but to your question about the whole terrorism aspect of it, yeah, in Islam, like any group that claims to be killing innocent people in the name of God they're not Muslim, because in Quran it's right there. Killing of one person is like the killing of all of mankind.
So the reason I brought this up, Matt, actually was because I have seen that the left is far more lenient when talking about these things. Right? So
Left is just dumb. I agree with you. Yeah, they're just a lot. They're just dumb on a lot of things. Yeah. So is the right. So the right
Yes.
the extreme right wing will use jihad and say, "Oh, the Muslims want to."
they
They want to jihad against our Alabamans or something, you know. They always, I've heard this. Like,
You have not.
even Joe Rogan was confused. He was like, jihadis coming over? He was honestly confused, not like perpetuating negative. Like, there are extreme, like Ben Shapiro, 100%. Ben Shapiro once made a video on YouTube that says 500 million Muslims are radicalized around there. Like, he says, like 1/3 of the
What?
Muslim world is radicalized. Look it up on YouTube.
Wait, what was the
He was basically trying to say that Islam, like this whole concept of terrorism, a lot of Muslims are actually radical people. The radicals and extremists. Like straight up, he just said he did some like stupid Ben Shapiro math and he came up with this thing that basically said 1/3 or about there, like hundreds of millions of Muslims are radical. And I was just like, after that, like I've just never listened to the guy. I have listened to him, but I've never taken him seriously. But my point is, people on the right do abuse this, and you're right. People on the left, they disregard of October 7, and then you're gonna piss off. You can't solve the conflict that way, right? You have to understand how it started, but. Yeah, so that's a good point you brought up, and I think both parties, both political wings, abuse people's fears, valid fears, for their own political gain.
Look at the war on terrorism. It was like I would think a bunch of right-leaning guys going, "Yeah, we need to go kill terrorists."
Yeah,
and when you really like start to do your own research on the war on terrorism, and it's like, well, what did it end up in? What did it turn into?
They killed civilians,
right? Like what you see. So it's both sides. Absolutely, I would agree. Yeah,
like in my country, 80,000 people lost their lives, and Pakistan had nothing to do with 9/11. Nothing to do with 9/11.
Well, you had to find the guy that was in Pakistan.
Yeah, we eventually ended up in Pakistan because we couldn't find him in Afghanistan, and he eventually sought refuge there. But yeah.
Did you see that documentary?
I saw it on my Netflix pop up. Yeah,
you gotta watch it. It's insane, dude. It's a documentary on 9/11, Osama. It's Finding Osama. That's what it's called.
Oh, Finding Osama.
Yeah, Finding Osama.
Weird, dude. What's incredible to me about that documentary is how much time passed before we actually found Osama. That to me is like
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
And he's 6'5". He's the tallest Arab man to ever live, probably. One of the tallest Arabs to ever live.
You know what's crazy to me?
6'5".
Whatever. It's weird.
Bro, 6'5". How do you not find the tallest terrorist in the world? I don't understand that.
So in the documentary, in the last episode, they were talking about finally the house that they got him in, right? And it was like
in Abtabad, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, well, we saw him there. We saw that, and I remember you talking about how tall he was. They were like, they had a satellite view of him, right?
Uh-huh.
And he every day, same time, he would go and pace for 10, 20 minutes. Take a walk.
Yeah.
And they would measure the shadow, basically, right? And then based on those measurements of that shadow, they determined that he was the same height as Osama. And there was other things that he had, like 4 families living within this house. Only one family wasn't allowed to leave. They're all his wives and kids, right?
Uh-huh.
But only one of the families wasn't able to leave. But knowing all this information, they didn't go in. It took them over a year to go and enter that house.
Bureaucracy.
But more than bureaucracy, because they killed how many people over there?
Innocent people.
Finding this guy. So it's like, okay, buddy, you have this hunch.
That's my issue with bureaucracy, though.
It's like you have this hunch, but you've had this hunch dozens of other times. And those dozens of other times, you didn't have to take years to go break into this fucking house.
Well, no, also, the reason why I think it might be is because technically, when they conducted this raid, they violated Pakistani airspace. They didn't tell Pakistan we're coming in with helicopters.
They did, yeah.
So they were going to infringe upon the airspace. They did eventually do it, but they were like, we were only going to do it when we're 100% confident. Right? Because America regularly conducted drone strikes in Pakistan, no problem. But that was in coordination with Pakistani military, right? They were like, we have these suspects, and Pakistan was like, really? You think so? Okay, fine. If you want to, really.
You get what I'm saying? That's like, okay, why not just
I think they were also suspicious, might have been, that is the Pakistani government intentionally harboring Osama bin Laden? They weren't sure. There's a lot of stuff.
I understand. I just think it's like...
Yeah, I don't understand why it took 10 years to find him. 10 years is a long time.
Yeah, but he was in a fucking cave for
10 years.
For some time.
10 years is crazy. Yeah, 10 years is wild. I don't understand.
His family was billionaires, bro.
They're rich. And the CIA trained Osama bin Laden. It's not a conspiracy.
They left him $25 million. Dude, he had 25
$25 from the CIA?
No. His family. His family excommunicated him.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they left him.
They were like, I had 25 million.
Yeah, left him 25 mil.
That's crazy, bro. 25 million? Only 25 million?
That's insane. It's like, come on. That's all. That I was watching. I was like, it doesn't sit well with me, man. It's like, come on, bro.
But we could have found Osama, bro. Honestly.
Well, they actually had a $25 million bounty on him.
$25 million bounty?
Yeah, for about like 8 years.
Damn, if I had known in Pakistan when I was there.
Yeah, you could have wanted to find. Yeah,
I could have been there.
You wanted to find him, bro. With an RPG.
Yeah.
With RPG.
If I talk about this, I will never forget the day that America got Osama. I did not sleep the entire night, bro.
He
I
was
was
in Pakistan.
scared. I was 100.
Mm.
This is not. I'm not even making this up. It's actually true. He's not believing me.
No, I
I
believe
was-
you.
I
We're
was
ready
like
for
a-
this.
Like 100 miles away, I think, from Osama, bro. Straight up, like 100 miles away. I lived. To me, that was like I was like, this is like
Yeah.
it's like San Diego.
It's literally in your
Osama
backyard.
lived in San Diego. It's my
Yeah,
backyard.
it's
literally.
your backyard.
Yeah, I was like, yeah. I didn't
pretty
believe that
cool.
America actually got Osama. I didn't
Because they
believe.
said it 3 times.
They said
before.
it so many times. My
Yeah.
parents were like, no way. He's probably out loose right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, does that mean he can come to our house?
What's insane to me is one time they said it, and it took him 2 years to realize that he was still out there.
Mm.
So everybody, really?
What?
Yeah.
Yes, he went on a
Bush?
what's that?
Bush did?
No, declared it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bush declared it. W declared it, and then 2 years later, it was like he comes out on video, and they're like, he's still around.
He married another woman.
Like, are you kidding me?
Kids. Pops them out.
Oh, W.
Yeah.
Let a whole generation grow.
Yeah, that thing is so uncomfortable, bro. I don't know. Terrorism in general is uncomfortable.
He's just terrorism is very uncomfortable, yes, especially for the people that get killed
That
by
get killed.
terrorists. Very uncomfortable for them
Yeah.
indeed, Matthew Gutierrez.
Yeah. Well,
When did you become religious and so involved in your faith?
It's 2019.
2019.
Yeah, and then after I graduated high school, I went to seminary for 4 years, and then got into my accident. So yeah,
What's the seminary?
seminary is your study of the Bible essentially.
Oh, you studied the Bible for 4
Mhm.
years. Wow, man. It's fascinating.
Yeah.
So you didn't really grow up religious then, right?
No. I hated church.
Mm.
Despised it. I would go to church high. I hated going to church. I despised it.
Is there something that happened in 2019? Like there was an evolution of your faith journey? Or?
2019 is when I went to the military high school, and I became a Christian then. I honestly only became a Christian because my wife became a Christian,
Mm.
and I was jealous, envious of the relationship that she had with God.
Interesting.
So that's why I became a Christian, but I didn't really understand what it meant. And then my senior year, once I was in a position of leadership, I was in charge of 10 people. So I was a squad leader. So in charge of uniforms, homework, their physical fitness, everything in those regards. It was then that I decided that I wanted to be a different leader than what I was witnessing. And then I moved up to a company position where I was in a team of 5 that had us overseeing 150 students.
Wow.
And I made a very big mistake there. I let my ego get in the way. And that specific moment is when I decided truly that I wanted to change my leadership style. And I started to try my best to live the life of Jesus Christ. And I saw major success in that.
It's fascinating. What else do you think it's a good time to end the podcast?
it's turned into a
We
very religious conversation.
we talked about a lot of things. All started with death. When you talk about death, you got to talk about religion. It just
It does coincide. Yeah. Always makes me feel like whenever we talk about religion, I feel like I always get like down in the podcast. I don't know why.
yeah. Why
I
do you
do.
Why do you feel? What do you mean down? Like you feel
Like I just stop
sad?
talking. No, not sad. I just stop. I just get in my own head and I start thinking about other things.
start seeing some ghosts or something, or what's going on
Yeah,
right now?
probably.
Yeah.
guy.
God's whispering to you, guy.
Don't be scared,
Guy.
guy.
Calls me guy, huh?
Guy.
Guy.
God.
We're talking about this for a reason, guy.
Anything else you want to say, man, before we end the podcast?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking about this last night when I was in the shower, which is my theological tank. I sit there and I just think.
Mine too, bro.
Mine too.
I'm so creative in the shower.
And I remember, was it 2018, I think it was. I'd gone to Texas.
Okay.
And I'd posted a Snapchat. And I said something along the lines of, I wish my dad was as good as my uncles here, or something along those lines.
Hmm.
You remember that? Do you remember how you responded?
I don't.
You said something along the lines of, "That's effed up, dude." And something like something about like appreciation, right?
Okay.
And I remember telling you like, "You don't understand," or something along those lines,
Okay.
right? And I was thinking about that last night,
Okay. Wow. Okay.
and I thought, I'm so thankful that I had such a good friend that would call me out like that, because you were right, absolutely right. There were things that my dad absolutely lacked in doing that I saw in these other men, but I don't think I would have ever have asked for another dad. He's the best dad I could have ever had. So I was thinking about that, and I want to say thank you.
No, you're of course, bro. Sometimes I'm a dick, but
For a couple of years, you were.
I was. Yeah.
My fault.
Uh-huh.
Definitely my fault. But
Very nice conversation.
Very
you,
good.
Leelan.
Thank you for coming on the
bro.
podcast,
Yeah.
man. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.